This is Jurong in Singapore, where MODEC have been building the JUBILEE FPSO, or Floating Production Storage and Offloading Unit. Or at least they've been building part of it. Because one key element has been made a little further north, in Johor, Malaysia. This is the FPSO's turret, which is being built by Malaysia Marine and Heavy Engineering. Twin-track construction to help speed progress along a fast-track schedule. JUBILEE's planners have been asked to shave not months, but years from the time typically taken to turn a discovery into a productive field. That was also the thinking behind the decision not to build a new FPSO from scratch, but to convert an existing tanker. At 335 meters long, the FPSO is a very big beast indeed, and the conversion work will transform almost every corner inside and out. Piece after piece, system after system has had to be replaced or upgraded to ensure that the FPSO will be able to process JUBILEE's huge output of oil and gas safely and reliably. A huge amount to do then, but by the autumn of 2009, work is far enough advanced for an official tour of inspection.
I'm really more than happy. I'm really encouraged that this is a great team, and I hope that we will continue to work together for the near future. Today, knowing that they're on schedule in terms of quality, in terms of time, in terms of cost, gives me the assurance that definitely there will be first oil come December or last quarter next year, and we are happy.
A series of modules built in Singapore, Malaysia and Indonesia will provide essential utilities for the FPSO and a range of processing capabilities. Chemical injection, power generation, water treatment, oil processing. One after another, in fair weather or foul, 18 modules have to be lifted up and set in place on the FPSO's deck. The modules are sizable items in their own right, with a total weight of more than 13,000 tons. This is one of the gas compression modules. Built by Dynamac Engineering in Singapore, it's able to handle up to 160 million standard cubic feet of gas a day. Initially, the gas will be re-injected into the JUBILEE reservoirs so as to minimize flaring. But once the export pipeline has been completed, it will be sent ashore to provide energy for communities and industries across Ghana. Other modules will enable the FPSO to treat 230,000 barrels of seawater a day, also for re-injection into the reservoirs, and of course to process oil, 120,000 barrels of it a day, through 2 process trains. In Malaysia, the turret is also rapidly taking shape. It's one of the largest of its type built anywhere in the world, and it plays a number of critical roles in the development plan. At its base are a series of slots through which hydrocarbons will be fed up into the FPSO, and water and gas will be sent back down towards the reservoir.
We're at the very bottom of the turret structure. This is basically where the subsea architecture meets the FPSO. Basically what you have is you have the big diameter tubes that come in here. These are for your production of your oil, injection of water and gas, and exporting of gas. These tubes are angled on an azimuth for the departure of the risers, and it's important for the internal of the tubes to be very smooth, so that the pull-in cable or wire does not get snagged or damaged during the pull-in of the risers. So I was just walking around checking the inside of the tubes just to see how good a job they've done. They've done an extremely good job at smoothing out the transition inside the tubes.
The turret also houses umbilicals, cables which run between the FPSO and the array of sophisticated hardware installed on the seabed. They carry hydraulic fluids, power, and a variety of control signals.
One of the main things about this piece of equipment is just the sheer amount sort of the mechanical fabrication that goes on here. All of the pipes, all of the various structures and components all come together. And one of the most interesting things that's actually in here is an 8-meter diameter bearing, like the bearing on a car wheel, but this one's actually 8 meters in diameter. machined in Germany, and it forms the center of this whole sort of structure is built on top of that bearing. And the whole structure itself is about 2,000 tons and will be about 60 to 70 meters tall when it's finally finished.
Before too much longer, MMHE's work here in Johor is finally done. And the turret can be shipped down to Singapore for installation. This is the project's biggest lift so far, and one of the trickiest. Slowly and precisely, the crane operator has to nudge this massive complex load into place at the bow of the FPSO. To complicate matters a little further, some rough weather rolls in from the Straits. Testing times, but finally the turret is slotted into place. It's a major milestone for the Jubilee development, but there's no time yet to celebrate. First, there's another big lift to complete. This structure will allow access to the various production systems housed on the turret. And when that's in place, there's a lot more to be done behind the scenes. Hooking up and checking every component and system to ensure that as much as possible is complete before the FPSO leaves the quay. A couple of months of intensive work, and it's time for another tour of inspection. The Jubilee development has generated a great deal of interest back in Ghana. So along with the politicians and other government officials, a group of journalists have come to find out what all the fuss is about.
If you look at the pace of work, if you look at the commitment, if you look at the synergy, it's so exemplary, and it shows what a people can do when they are united and when they pool all their efforts and resources together. And this certainly would be a model project for many people in many, many years to come.
A couple of months on, and the site team at Jurong are getting the FPSO ready for its official naming ceremony. Ghana's First Lady, Mrs. Ernestina Nadu Mills, arrives to do the honours.
It is an honour and a pleasant duty for me to be part of this morning's event.
50 years previously, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah had led Ghana to independence, so the FPSO has a lot to live up to. Hopes in Ghana are certainly high. Before too long, the FPSO was off, on the first stage of its journey to try and turn those dreams into reality. Ahead of it lay an 11,000-mile journey across the Indian Ocean, round the Cape, and up the West African coast. And beyond that, 20 years or more of service, during which it can play its part in helping to boost the economy of Ghana and improve the lives of many Ghanaians.